Hey everybody, mel0n here. Welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about a pad that is very familiar to a lot of you who've been watching the channel for a long time, and also those of you who watched my mousepad roundup for 2023 will be very familiar with this guy. This is the IKEA Landspelar Black. I don't know how to pronounce it. I just call this thing the IKEA pad. It's the easiest way to say it because I can't pronounce it Swedish because I'm an idiot, but here we are. This is the IKEA pad V1. This is a control-oriented budget pad that they released in around early 2021, and it is insanely good. Let's unpack it and talk about it. So dimensions we're going to have, it's going to be 44 centimeters across, it's going to be 36 centimeters high, and it's going to be around, the width is going to be around 4 millimeters, so similar to like a SteelSeries QCK and that kind of stuff. As you saw in the intro, all of these comes with like a plastic packaging. I've always seen them packaged completely flat at the store, which is really nice to see, so no issues with like creases or anything when you get it home, which is great to see. For a $20 Canadian mouse pad, this is some insane build quality. I know this is the original one I've been using for almost, I would say, give or like take like 7-8 months. This thing has held up incredibly well. I'm very impressed with how good the quality on this thing is. Again, as I would say, if I had to compare this mouse pad to pretty much anything, the only thing I can really think of is a SteelSeries QCK. Maybe a PureTrack Valor as also would be kind of another similar pad. Very unassuming. Like, it just looks like a plain ass like mouse pad you get from like Amazon or something, but it's such a good quality. The base of this mouse pad, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, is kind of this cross stitch kind of thing here. I've had no issues with this pad shifting at all, even under weight, no matter what. Even if I'm like dragging my arm across it, this one will not move at all, which is really nice to see. The edges of the mouse pad are this kind of like smooth cut here, so how they're packaged. Now, the edging does fray a little bit over time, again, over the couple months of using it. It has frayed just a tiny little bit, but not enough to be like a warrant concern and like that kind of stuff. The also nice thing about it is that even though the edges are a little high, it doesn't catch on your arm too much when you're moving. So if you're aiming and you pull up, you won't feel too much resistance. Again, depending on how much of your arm you rest on your mouse pad. If you're fingertip gripping, that won't be a problem. But if you're palm or clawing, you won't have an issue with kind of any drag here, which is nice. I will say though, for a little tidbit, I do use arm sleeves, and I will say that some arm sleeves do have a little bit of a tension here. If it's plain skin, it's not too bad, but if it's an arm sleeve, it can be a little abrasive sometimes, so just keep that in mind. Now, the surface of this mouse pad, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera. The surface of this mouse pad is very just like kind of like a stitched cloth kind of top, and the base is like a big foam kind of rubber base, if you can see it there. The front of this is awesome. I've had really good experience with this. I haven't had any slow spots develop, no issues like that at all. Again, very similar to a QCK, so very impressed with this. The glide is really solid. Everything about it is just good. The pad is hard. I will definitely say it's more on the medium to hard scale. So again, if you press down your mouse pad, there's gonna be no issues of your mouse kind of sinking into the pad or the pad just kind of resisting a little bit. Humidity and water and that kind of stuff, they definitely affect the pad a tiny little bit, but not enough to actually change the performance that much, in my opinion. Again, I've been here in Canada, it's the winter right now, so it's pretty cold, but if it does get humid in here, I don't find the mouse pad slows down at all, or if any water gets on it, I haven't had any issues at all. Since it is a harder cloth surface, dust is not an issue because any kind of dust kind of falls into the individual stitching. However, this thing will attract cat hair or any kind of pet hair like a magnet. I'm sure there's probably a couple pieces of cat hair on here already. You will have to pick those out every once in a while, similar to any other kind of cloth top mouse pad. So in terms of mouse glide, the surface is extremely smooth. I've had no issues with any areas developing any kind of slow spots or anything like that. Across the board, the glide is really solid. Now, I've used this, my Vaxi PA has standard PTFE skates on it. I've also used glass skates. I've pretty much everything, and I've also used multiple other mice on this product. Even my SteelSeries Sensei 10, which with the original mouse skates feels really solid, not too much drag, no problems there at all. Glide is great. Again, over 8-7 months of using this pad, hasn't developed any kind of slow spots or anything like at all. No hitches, no tears or anything, with some really good quality in terms of the glide. The speed is okay. Again, with this pad being more of kind of a control focus thing, the speed isn't amazing, but it's not like Zowie GSR where you feel like you're dragging your mouse through mud. But speed is very good. I haven't had any issues where I feel like I have to fight the mouse pad to move my mouse. The control is actually quite good as well. Now, while the glide is very good on this mouse pad, it does actually have surprisingly good stopping power when force is applied to the mouse, probably due to the hardness of the pad. If you're trying to make a stop and you press down a little bit, basically you're just going to stop on the dot. There's very little jitter, but overall I've had no issues with speed and glide control. All very solid, very good. Now, if you use arm sleeves like I do now, I just have a standard kind of athletic grade arm sleeve. You will have a little bit of an issue where the very edge of this mouse pad, with how it's cut the edges, will fight your arm just a little bit. Not enough to be like a big problem, but enough that you'll notice it. This is just with the nature of the mouse pad, unfortunately, just this kind of foam frayed edge. Now, I will say the edge has actually held up extremely well with me dragging an arm sleeve over it for like 7-8 months. It's actually held up very well, but that is something to note. On the pad itself, it's about what I would expect for you wearing an arm sleeve on a control pad. There is definitely friction, but not enough where like you feel like you're fighting the pad for your movements. My movements are still very solid and very, very smooth. Oh, and I should also mention, the surface itself doesn't stick to cables or anything like that. Again, if you're using a wired mouse, I highly recommend using a mouse bungee to avoid this problem entirely, but you can get away with it. In terms of cons, now I already mentioned kind of the fraying on the side. Again, this is more just due to me using an arm sleeve and having a lot of friction on it, but overall, the build quality is extremely solid, so I can't really knock them any points for that, especially also considering the price with it only being $20. A little bit of fraying around the side after 7-8 months of use is really nothing to really complain about. The one big issue I have with this mouse pad is the size. Now, with it being 44 centimeters by 36, this length is great. The 36 is just a little too short. Now, I do know sometimes that if I'm playing like Apex or Overwatch and that kind of stuff, if I'm trying to aim up high, I do often find that I kind of hit the top of the mouse pad a little easy. And if I'm tracking something below as well, like if I'm playing Farah or something, I do notice that I often run my mouse pad off of the side. I would love to see them make a 45 by 45 version. That would be like probably the perfect size. But again, it's usable. Again, I'm running 33 centimeters, so I don't really, like, if I'm aim training, I don't really have an issue where I'm running off the side of my mouse pad trying to track targets. But if you run a slightly higher centimeter per 360, like maybe around 50, 60, you may run into issues of running out of mouse pad and having to readjust. It's only specific games that I kind of have the problem, but for games like Valorant or CSGO or Rainbow Six Siege, that kind of like more attack-oriented shooters, I haven't had any problems with running off the mouse pad at all. That's pretty much everything I have to say about this mouse pad. Overall, I have to highly recommend this mouse pad. If you're looking for a budget-oriented control pad and you're looking for something cheap that does the job and has really good build quality, I highly recommend this. I bought 3 of them because I was like, oh, well, if it's a cheaper mouse pad, maybe it'll run out and I'll have to get another one. I'm still using my original. I still have the other 2 up in my closet and haven't even touched them. And again, after 7 to 8 months of use, it's still holding up really well. I highly recommend this mouse pad. I will be giving it my, I don't even know, I don't have an award to give this. I'll give it the mel0n seed of approval. We'll call it that. We'll give it the seed of approval. Highly recommend it. I would love to see IKEA maybe release a 45 centimeter by 45 centimeter version in the future. That would be like the perfect size, but we'll have to see what they do. But regardless, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I hope this review helped you out. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace. LåneSpelare? LåneSpelare? IKEA, name your stuff so I can pronounce it. Good lord, what is this? LåneSpelare? What is this? I feel like I'm summoning something. LåneSpelare. What? If I say this 5 times fast, am I gonna summon like a plate of meatballs? LåneSpelare, 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 LåneSpelare. Damn it.